1:31 p.m. Market's been closed 31 minutes. Today's date, capitulation day. No, I'm just kidding. But however, close enough. We were well over 500 points down in the Dow. NASDAQ 100, well, we bounced. NASDAQ comp, what a haircut. Minus 82 handles. Everything that we had said. We got down here and we closed above 1126 on the S&P. S&P 100 large caps, you can see that they also too took a bloodbath. Okay, and basically it's an FOMC meeting announcement along with things out of China and everything else going around the world. Particularly they didn't like what Benny had to say, and then they didn't like the Chinese talking about their growth being slower. And energy and commodities and metals and everything was down huge. But we have a 60-minute chart of Google, and that's the stats of the day. And Google gets down here, hits a swing low of 514. Well, this is back on 9/2 when we rallied up to these areas right here. Reversal, you can see where we gap below that today, and that the swing high was only 528.78. And Google was very close, just as much as yesterday, being as high as 558. So when we got down to the lows, if we take and do the math correctly, MMTs, yesterday's high was, or 919 highs were right up here. So yesterday's high was 552.64. And the previous day's high was that 558.52. So we're going to go 558, and we're going to go 0.52 MMTs minus today's low. And today's low, it looks like, is 514. So minus 514.36 equals minus $44 reversal. And during this $44 3-day reversal, because you can see the dates here, and you can see the dates here, that means that we have found a short-term support level within the amount of selling that we had, is where fund managers want to come in and start buying it, because it is $44 cheaper than it was 3 days ago at this bull run bottom cycle right here. We traded that whole thing all the way up, but then we knew that the party was over and we sold our calls out yesterday, because we did. So this is the Google 60-minute chart, and what we're saying to people, to MMTs, is if I'm going to buy something wholesale, okay, well, I'm buying negative $44.16 from 3 days ago. This was the breakout on a 60-minute right here, and it broke to that high, and then it's reversed $44 from this breakout. In fact, it's actually lower than where this original breakout happened, and that's this line that I'm going to draw right here horizontally. So actually, if I do that there, you can see where the breakout was to the high, MMT, and we traded it right up there. And when we started to pull back, we sold them yesterday because we were dangerous right here. It wasn't getting back above this blue line and consolidating, and where it could make a higher high. So we had to exit yesterday, and good thing we did, because we know when to exit. And now from that peak right there to here to the low of the day is $44 from that peak 3 days ago, counting today. And that we're lower, but then we're trying to build a 60-minute bottom base right here. Yes, if we continue the selling, then we could come down here. It'll be right about through here, right above this 500 level. Okay, this is where that gap to the high to the rest of the trend had peaked and then reversed. So we know where we're at here, and we can see when I blow up the chart here just this frame of it, is we can clearly see MMTs, how this bottom support line is going to have to hold price action. And not only that, the minute period moving average, they're all crossed over each other. And that's technically what the bigger people are going to look at. But we're going to look at that percent DS right here at 6.83. And what I will show you over here is when we were making that intraday high, that percent DS was at 83.17 on a 60-minute, and it started to get, meaning that this whole bull cycle had gotten overbought is what it means. MMTs. And then we come down here and we consolidate here MMTs, but we could never get back up in here, so we started selling the other day. So from here to there is minus. Now let's take a look at the percent DS. Let's see how low it got here, 6.83 on a 60-minute. And this percent DS popped to 9.97. That means that in the shorter 60-minute cycle, we're going to have support. And we're within this reversal cycle to that support level, is that in the shorter term that we're in balance, meaning that yes, we were overbought up here during this breakout. Look at the breakouts we had, the amount of daily breakouts that we had to get to that overbought level. But then again, $44.16 reversal to support has put us at a 6.83% DS ratio. Another thing to the upside is that this declining 10-minute period moving average will act as our first resistance on a 60 minutes, 527.24. And we're going to have to use our MMT platform. I'm just showing you what it looks like on a standard chart today so you can see. And basically this particular part of this base right here, where the breakout happened, MMTs, is going to be a resistance level. And MMTs, I will draw a horizontal trend line for you, and you can clearly see that it's going to be where this base was, and it's going to come right out here. I'm going to put right where the end of the lower base was, a little bit right there. And this is right where today's selling was. If you look at the white trend line, you can see where the bottom of that breakout base was. That was support to the breakout, but now in a shorter time frame with the amount of gap down on 922, that's acting as resistance, in the 60 minutes we're selling directly into it. The lesson learned, MMT, is how to buy and understand both what your MMT platform will tell you and also what the public is looking at as well, because that's who you're trading against. And the bigger people look at this number, and when it's that oversold, that's why you got that last 60-minute buy bar right here off of that bottom. So the last hour of the market on Google, you actually can take a look down here, and it's in the video. You can see down here that this column, MA200, is a 200-minute period moving average, and it's $530.83. All right, and you know where the 10-minute is. But let's take a look at the number of trades. There was a lot of trades that were happening right at the close. The volume 5,505 had increased. All right, and ultimately the declining 20-minute period moving average is at 539.1150. Okay, so that's what is going to be important on the upside volatility range. And it's a major low at support with a $44 reversal in 3 days. We will be looking at how we specifically key in here on tomorrow's expiration with the 520 call, the ones that we were buying and selling all day today live. They're all live. They're all live entry and exits. Today's videos on 9/22/2011 will be focusing on the 515 call. We'll be focusing on the fact that we closed at 520.66, down 18.54 handles. Okay. Now, if you take a look and do the math from that reversal down to that support level here, from this reversal to that support level. That's 44.16. Now, if I take today's range from the closing bell of 539 MMTs, 0.20 MMTs, minus my low of the day, which that's the lowest print that the buyer stepped in at, minus $514 even, equals 25.2 from the close to the low. And from 514 we have closed. That was how many dollars that this bottom was at one time. And that's 25.2. If you add up the close there, that's about a 6.6 ratio positive move off the bottom in that 60-minute bar right here, MMTs, which give us a net of about negative 18.5 from the previous day's close ratio. So what we're looking at in the shorter term for tomorrow's expiration is how to get a bundle of these at wholesale and make a bundle of money. And or if it breaks it, then we'll start looking at the 520 put tomorrow in case they want to take this down. If we break the trend line, we got to know where the bottom end of that trade's going to be, and it's going to be right here. And what we'll be looking at is that if we break the 510 handle right here, we'll use our platform to confirm it. This is just, but down here, if there was another day of big selling tomorrow on options expiration, there is a gap right in here. And it's slightly right above here at 501. There's 510. There's also another hook right here at 505. And there are other various different ones at 507.34. And there are other ones even right in here. And that's at, once again, we want to see that 514.02 is where I drew a major trend line. It comes right here. That was the low of the day. This was the low right here. And right here is my trend line I just drew for you right here. And that's what we hit and we bounced on. So yes, there are numbers because 514 is right here. This is where we had a big rally and a gap and a runaway rally up here on up to 9.7 in September in the upside volatility swing. On the downside volatility, we're right there at those key levels, and that's where we bounced $6 off the bottom. That's the Google analysis for tomorrow's options expiration. We are prepared, and we will make a lot of money again tomorrow, buying wholesale and selling back to the public retail. That is what we will do on Google. 60-minute chart. Everything has been done here for tomorrow now. We know where that major line is. We know what happens if it breaks it. We know what happens if it goes up. And your platform, your MMT platform, which is this right here, if this is a Google chart, this chart tomorrow, the 3-minute, just like every day and any day, it's going to take you through everything you need to know. And there was the bottoms at the close at that price down here on a 3-minute level, and there was that breakout going into the closing bell. Yes, the closing bell. Right there was a closing bell. $6 up. Here's what it looks like in your MMT platform. Or this is your standard one. That's what it looks like in your MMT platform. I've done the Google trade.